everyone, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Maddie, and I'm going to be talking about my top 4 picks from Kindle Unlimited that I read this year. I got my Kindle, like my physical Kindle, in March of this year, but I have been using the Kindle app for years, and I happened to read 21 books from Kindle Unlimited this year. So I'm telling you guys about 4 of them. I just thought that was a good number. I couldn't really pick any more. I was like, these are my 4 favorites, so I gotta talk about them. Not in any particular order, so let's just get right into it. All right, Honey is being very needy. Come here. She just wants to be on camera, that's all it is. Okay, the first book that I'm going to talk about is Butcher and Blackbird. This one took me by surprise. I thoroughly enjoyed this book, even though that it's kind of gruesome and gross. Rowan and Sloane are both serial killers that only target bad guys. So it's very like Dexter vibes, so you're getting this, I need to do this gruesome, horrible thing, but he deserves it. Sloane and Rowan are meeting once a year for a competition who can kill the agreed upon target first. From the very beginning, you can see the chemistry between these two people. And yes, they both have very similar motives. Like they both have a rough past that they are trying to kind of cope with. Obviously, it's very non-traditional attraction, but it's there and it's very, very sexy. I will say the relationship kind of picks up towards the last 20% of the book because it does span over 4 years. They're kind of, it's slow. It's a slow build. They're kind of friends. They're like having fun doing this little competition together, but there's nothing tying them together throughout those 4 years besides like a few text messages. So that last competition in the last, that is when they start to like actually physically like do some stuff, you know? Even though that the romance kind of just picks up in the last 20%, it is so bingeable and a very easy, fast-paced book. Like, even though that the romance is slow, the book is fast. And there's gonna be more books in this series because Rowan has a few brothers. I think they're gonna get like spin-off books. And we got little glimpses of them in this book, and I loved one of them. I can't remember their name. Let's go over some of the tropes because I feel like tropes are really important when you're picking a book. I know specifically for me, I have my favorite tropes, so I usually pick books based off of those. So let's talk about some. Is this a trope? Is serial killer a trope? I don't think so, but I'm gonna add it. They're both serial killers. That's a new one. Slow burn, touch her and you die, cinnamon roll hero, but only for her. He falls first for sure, and then it's definitely like a dark rom-com. It's kind of funny, it's kind of silly, goofy. There are some trigger warnings as well that I want to put out there. It's a little gory, it's a little graphic, and there is cannibalism. That's gross. The spice level, I would say, is a level 4 because especially once you get into the later half of the book, it really, really gets graphic. So if that is not your thing, maybe be aware of that. Now, I do want to go over some quotes, and hopefully these quotes will maybe make you want to read it yourself. But I'm going to read it from my computer because I cannot memorize quotes. Can't do that. I would kill for you, and I have. I would do it again every damn day. I'd turn myself inside out for you. I would die for you. I don't just like you, Sloane, and you fucking know it. And that's a good point actually to make, is Sloane is very, very in her head, and like he falls first, but she has known and has had that attraction to him from the very beginning. She just doesn't like realize it. This one's just kind of funny. Sloane is just so great. She said, "I didn't gouge them out, Butcher. I plucked them delicately like a lady." She's talking about eyeballs, just so you guys know. We're not normal people, we're monsters. But if we're monsters, we'll thrive in the dark together. It's just sweet. I mean, like, sweet but not. like I love how I'm like gushing over 2 serial killers, but it's a book, we can pretend. The next book that I want to talk about is The Right Move by Liz Tomforde. This book has been everywhere. I know Liz Tomforde has been everywhere this year too. Good for her. I loved Mile High. A lot of people, that was a hit or miss book for them. I did like The Right Move more, and I read them on Kindle before I bought the physical copy, which is behind me. Ryan is a pro basketball player who is very loyal and like loves quietly. That's a big theme in this book, and I actually love the way that that's described because he is a quiet lover. Indy, on the other hand, is a witty, helpless romantic. She's kind of a tornado. She's everywhere. She's wild. She's free. She's goofy. But she did recently just get out of a really long-term relationship, so she needs somewhere to stay. And what better place than the extra bedroom of a pro basketball player's apartment? I mean, that would have been my first thought. And like I said in Butcher and Blackbird, the chemistry between Ryan and Indy is crazy. Ryan's kind of shy, quiet. Indy, tornado, kind of chaotic. And Ryan is so curious about Indy. He just doesn't quite understand her, but he wants to really bad. I think Liz Tom Ford does a really good job in romance with having two main characters with very different past traumas coming together and working them out together. They balance each other out. That's what I'm trying to say. Their traumas balance each other out. I think that the triggers in this, they help each other through. They do a really good job at like accommodating where the other is lacking. And I love that in romance because it's very realistic. You know, no relationship is going to be 50-50. It's very realistic, quality romance. Some of the tropes, let's go over them. Forced proximity, best friend's brother, best friend's brother, there you go. Fake dating, sports romance, which is basketball, and friends to lovers. They do start out as friends, they slowly become more, and it goes from there. I would give this spice level a 3. It is spicy, for sure. Maybe a 4. The tension is so high. I would say a 3.5, 4 maybe. To give Butcher and Blackbird a 4, this one, it has to be a 4 or a 5. Let's say 3.5, okay? Some quotes, because of course they're so good, especially this one gearing towards Ryan. Sometimes the quietest love is the loudest. True. Oh, this is just about books because Indy is a romance reader. How else would you get to live 1,000 lives in the span of only one? The beauty of fiction is that it makes you feel things on a visceral level. You can cry with those characters, laugh with them. It teaches you to look at another's perspective. In nonfiction, you simply learn about something instead of feeling it. I need to read that one to Brock. Moving on to the next book, number 3, Psycho Shifters by Jasmine Mass. Now, I've talked about this book a few times, and I do have the physical copy now, but I did read this on my phone. I didn't have my Kindle at the time. I'm gonna talk about the tropes first in this book because I don't want to give anything away in the summary. Tropes: reverse harem, Omegaverse, enemies to lovers, paranormal romance, and then because it's reverse harem, they each have their own tropes within them. Like one of them is kind of like a golden retriever, the other one is kind of like touch her and you die, the other one's just mean. Like there's a little bit of everything in here. So we have Sadie. She is an alpha in this Omegaverse, and women are never alphas, so she's a bit special. She ends up being trained by these 3 men. I'm not going to tell you how she got there because the beginning of the book is really, really good and kind of builds up this world a little bit. But she's trained by these 3 big, burly, brooding men. Because of that, it leads for some interesting character development because Sadie is just like pulled in 3 different directions and like never knows what to feel really. But one thing that I really loved about Sadie is that she's often like really shocked and surprised about how strong she is, and because she's looked down upon because she's the only female alpha there is, like she can't be that strong. She really, really is. And her humor, her inner dialogue is hilarious. Like when you are in her POV and you see her thoughts, cracks me up. There are quite a lot of different settings in this book, so I can't just pinpoint it to one. Like in book 1, it's different than book 2. In book 2, it's different than book 3. Like they're constantly like moving around this world, but it's a little Hunger Games-ish. Like they go through some trials at some point. They go through a lot of training. You're kind of getting the background of her like rising to be this really, really powerful alpha, but you're also getting a little bit of spice and tension on the side, which is kind of nice. I do want to say the first book has very, very minimal spice in it at all. There's almost no spice. It's just a lot of buildup and tension between the 4 characters. You kind of see Sadie build a really, really good relationship with 2 of them, and then the third one's kind of like off. Doesn't really build one until later. I'm pretty sure, isn't there a 4th one that comes in? I think there's a 4th eventually. Could be spoiling that. I don't really remember. I just remember the 3 really, really well. It just makes for a really fun adventure with these characters. I'm not saying that it is the best written book. Like, it's really not. I base books based off of like entertainment, and I was very entertained by these books. I'm pretty sure I rated them between 3.5 to 5 stars. And I read the 3. I know there's 4 or 5 now. I'm pretty sure there's more, and I definitely want to read them. I just don't know when I will, but I want to. Reverse harem in real life might not be for me, but in my books, I eat that shit up. Yes, give me 3 men, for sure. Books, like I said earlier about the tropes, the 3 men provide aspects of like 1 man. The spice level, again, kind of like I said, the first book doesn't have any, but it does get spicier throughout, so I don't really know what to rate the spice on this one, but it's not like crazy in your face. It kind of builds up. Now I want to go over some quotes, of course. So Especially this one is so Sadie. This is Sadie to a T. Small bitches could still give off big dick energy. See, there you go. Modern slang. Like, what fantasy book is gonna say big dick energy, you know? Here's another one. Turned out it was impossible to have a pity party while you were eating warm syrup on a waffle. That shit slapped. Again, more modern slang. She makes you laugh though, okay? So even if you don't like that modern stuff in fantasy books, I kind of found it really funny. We're getting to the last book, the last and final recommendation for you guys. Binding 13. Now, if you've read this book or if you're going to read it because I'm recommending it, I'm sorry. I'm sorry because you're gonna cry. You're gonna cry, but you're gonna laugh. You're gonna smile, you're gonna blush, but you're definitely gonna cry. Addictive isn't even like a good word for these books. Like when you pick it up, you cannot put it down. I actually read Binding 13 and Keeping 13 in 4 days, 5 days, like really quick. I did it in a 24-hour reading vlog. Couldn't pay me to put it down. Like I was so into it and so into these characters. It definitely was like Gossip Girl, One Tree Hill, Say You Swear by Meg and Brandy, like that kind of friendship. You're watching their life. It's not necessarily anything specific is happening. It's just you're watching their life. Guys, my camera doesn't want me to finish this video. My memory card ran out. This is an angsty, heartwarming love story between Johnny and Shannon. They meet on kind of weird circumstances. Johnny is a rugby player. This is set in Ireland, known in their community for playing rugby. He is the rugby guy. Like he's it. And he's going pro. Like he's going places in rugby. And Shannon is the new girl at his school. She actually moved over due to some really severe bullying cases at her old school. And on the first day of school, Johnny hits her in the head with a rugby ball. By accident, but it knocks her over and she's like, great. I literally just left a school for bullying and now I get hit in the head by the most handsome boy in school. What is gonna happen? We all know what's gonna happen. This poor girl though cannot catch a break. She moves schools because she's bullied, like severely bullied, like really like almost tormented, like terrible bullying. Also find out that Shannon has been in a very, very abusive household her whole life. Her father is an alcoholic and mental, physical, emotional abuser, like very graphic. We will get to the trigger warnings in a little bit. But this poor girl, she really just cannot catch a fucking break. And the fact that she goes to this new school and things are looking up, the last thing she needs is attention from the most popular guy in school. But Johnny is obsessed with her. Like when I say obsessed, like he definitely falls first. She's obviously like, oh my god, he's so attractive, but I literally don't talk to anyone. Like I'm not gonna talk to this man. Johnny quite literally is like the perfect man. Like if you read this book, you're like, why can't all men be like this? He is that guy. Like he's too good to be true, and you see it throughout this book. And even Shannon's like, he's too good. Like why is he paying any attention to me? You watch Shannon and Johnny navigate through this newfound attraction for each other throughout the series, and you watch them intermingle with their friend groups, so her friend group and his friend group. I really think I'm cursed. My camera just turned off because it overheated. But some scary things are happening in both of their lives that they kind of have to watch out for and navigate through, so it's really nice to see these young characters just do adult things, you know? The main thing I loved about this book, every single character in this book has a story to tell. Shannon's family, Shannon's brother specifically, Johnny's best friend Gibbsy, Gibbsy's like kind of crush in Shannon's best friend. Like there's like 10 plus characters that you're kind of following along with. And they each add something to the story and they're needed in the story. Book series, these characters might not be for everyone, but it was it for me. It worked for me, and I absolutely am a character-driven book reader, so the characters will forever live in my heart. The spice level is 0, but the tension could make it a 1. Like Johnny and Shannon just have this great chemistry, and you just see both of their teenage minds finding out what like feelings are. You just see them navigate through those teenage hormones, and it's really, really sweet, and there's a lot of like innocent spice in it, if that makes sense, but the tension is there. I thrive off of tension. I actually preferred this kind of style over a lot of other spice. So the tropes, sports romance, because it's rugby, he falls first. Is this a trope? I don't know. Rich boy, she's a poor girl. I think I've seen that one before. Like he's like privileged and she's just not. She's definitely like a damsel in distress, but I think she's so much stronger than she thinks she is. But because Shannon can never catch a break, she just has a lot of resilience, so I gotta give her credit. But she is a little bit of a damsel, so. Trigger warnings, 1000%. Domestic violence, abuse, verbal, physical. I mean, it's all in there and it's very, very graphic. So just please be aware and be careful of this series. Do your own research before you dive into it. Just some like sad shit. You know, it's just sad. And now some quotes I want to talk about. So this is perfect for Shannon, especially when we're talking about that resilience aspect. The girl was the definition of fall down 7 times and stand up 8. No matter what seemed to be thrown her way, she always dusted herself off, climbed back up her feet, and tried again. That is Shannon, 1000%. I know this video to you guys is like not that long, but for me it's been a long time filming because shit keeps happening to my camera. I'm doing the outro to this video. These are the 4 books that I would absolutely recommend from Kindle Unlimited. I read them this year and I really, really enjoyed them. Again, the 21 Kindle books that I read, if you want to follow me on Goodreads, you guys can see what I'm reading in the moment. I update my page number like a crazy person, so please go follow me on Goodreads. All of my links are down below. If you want my new Moody Reader sweatshirt, this is also linked down below in my Fireheart embroidery Etsy shop. I've been adding some new designs here and there, so I do have stickers on there as well that I have put on my Kindle. There's the little Fireheart one, and then I'm reading. Please leave some comments down below of your favorite Kindle Unlimited that you read this year. Maybe I will pick them up and add them to my library. See you guys in the next video.